Hi, it's Ella here from Tenny Pilates. Thank you so much for joining today's video. I'm going to be teaching you the key ABCs for your Pilates elements. So this is what you're going to be taking with you throughout today's practice for you to continue on through any other exercises that you are going to get aligned for. So we're going to focus on your alignment, your breathing and your core, just to keep all these engaged throughout any practice that you start. So to start today's elements, so we're going to be starting with our alignment. You will need a towel or a mat. If not, that's completely fine. You don't need anything. But when you are doing your practices, you will need to be aligning yourself through each, before each exercise. So you want to be aligning breathing core, then going into it. And that's throughout each exercise that you are starting, just so you're getting more of the benefits throughout Pilates, because there's a lot of things that you see out there and they don't really mention the alignment breathing core. They just say scoop the belly in, but that's not really the key things that you're going to get the main benefit out of. So you want to be standing with your feet hip width distance apart. So now we're going to be starting your body scan in each element of the body to make sure that you are aligned for going into your practice, okay? So you want to be making sure that your feet are hip width distance apart. If you are going into an alignment on the floor, so that could be you are seating, so you want to still make sure that your feet are hip width distance apart. It just depends on where you are starting your position. But if we're just going to be standing today, feet are hip width distance apart on the mat, spreading the toes out. You want to evenly distribute the weight. So as we're here, we want to be slightly taking it forward and taking all the way back. This is just to evenly distribute the weight throughout of the body, finding our grounding through the feet. Making sure that you've got a nice soft bend in the knees, because if you are hypermobile, any injuries or lock the knees, so you just want to make sure that they are nice and soft. Going on to your pelvic tilts here, okay? So people think that just moving the whole motion here, the only key part of your body that you want to be moving is the pelvic floors here. The pelvic tilting backwards and forth. So you will want to imagine that you have got a bucket of water, or I say a crystal pendulum, because we want to be swinging it backwards and forth. If you would like to place your hands on both of the hips, please feel free to, or keeping them at either side of the body. So as we're here, you want to be swinging the crystal pendulum or the bucket of water. So you're tilting it back to let it all fall out the water, and you're scooping it back in, okay? So you want to really exaggerate this motion to warm up the pelvic area and to help find your neutral spine position. As you start to slow it down and you find your neutral spine, so you don't want to be out or too in, so just in the center, okay? Going on to the rib cage. So here is important because a lot of the time you see people where, and even I've done it in the past, your ribs always need to be pulled in like closed doors. So imagine there's a piece of string in between the hips and the ribs, rib-hip connection, and you're pulling it down so the ribs are not flared, they're pulled all the way in, okay? So pulling of the ribs in. Do the shoulder roll up, back and down away from the ears, tucking the chin of the chest. Just imagine that you have an orange here, so we don't want to squeeze it, we just gently want to hold it here, okay? This creates length through the neck and crown of the head. So as we stood here, we want to imagine that we've got a piece of string pulling us all the way from top to bottom out of our heads. Now we are in full alignment. We need to go on to our breathing. So our breathing core, we have to make sure that we go through the ABC. So inhale through the nose. If you'd like to place your hands on your rib cage, still keeping them in. Inhale through the nose and out through pursed lips, blowing out that candle. In through the nose and out through pursed lips. One more of those. And out through the mouth. So we really want to expand the rib cage and empty it. So just making sure it's deflated and it's still being pulled in, okay? Now we're going to go on to our core. This is important because this can be quite missed if it's not spoken out correctly. So now we're going on to our core. We want to imagine that you're wearing a corset tightly, pulling it in, and we're shimmying to a pair of jeans. And as we're pulling those jeans, we want to imagine that we're zipping them. So as we're pulling it in, so belly button to spine, your transversal to your multifidus at around 30%. And then we want to be pulling it, all your pelvic floors, all the way up to your diaphragm at around 30%. As we inhale to release, exhale. And on the next inhale, we're going to be taking all 4 components and taking it up a notch to around 60%. That's halfway core engagement. And now you are aligned to move into your position. So this could be whether you're sat on the mat going into a full roll down. This could be whether you're going to do a push to standing. So you want to stand all the way up, go all the way back down into your positions and go from there. I hope that this information is helpful and it helps with you going throughout your practices, whether it's online or in classes. Take care and I'll see you in the next video.